Scott Russell.
And I'm Melissa Gelanese.
And this is Let's Chat.
It is. We haven't been here for a while.
No, we haven't. It's just,
Yeah.
it's only been 2 weeks, right?
Has it? It feels
Or 3
like
weeks.
it's been forever.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I've
it's
been watching things and I've had so much to say, but it just feels like we
haven't got to say it.
been chatting.
Yeah.
Chatting away on our group chat.
So we got like 5 pages of notes here. That
Oh,
Melissa's
you know
planning
me.
on
I always think, just in case I get tongue-tied and I don't know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't usually happen, does it?
See, well, last time you had this whole thing on whatever it was, and I thought, well, if I keep her talking about other things, I won't have to suffer listening to that.
Oh,
and
is
then
that
you've brought it
right?
back this
Is
time,
that
you want to do
right?
it again. So. But no, what do you got?
I have the notes there to shut you up.
Doesn't work very well. Never will.
No, so I've been, I sway a little bit. Oh, I get really interested in this person and then really interested in that person. And, I think as I will reiterate every time we talk, I think anybody who's in the truth movement and is making waves of some sort is worthwhile listening to. Doesn't matter about their style, their background. This person, Graham Hood, I remember early days when he was questioning the narrative of what was going on. He's a pilot for Qantas.
You knew I was going to say that.
Yeah, because I need to explain things because I live in Aussie land.
Yeah.
And I know we have a lot of overseas visitors to our chats.
We do.
So Graham Hood is a very extremely well-known pilot, used to work for Qantas Airlines, and he famously quit his job when he was asked to get back.
Did he quit or he got sacked?
No, he quit.
He quit,
Yeah, he put in his
hang on.
resignation.
You said the word. When he got
carroted.
When he got the
needle. No, he didn't get carroted. He was being asked to be carroted.
Yeah.
Yes. How can I say that word like 5 minutes in? If
I
that?
know. You just ruined the whole video. The whole rest of the video is going to get removed off YouTube.
Like last time.
I know.
Anyway, he's been a real mover and shaker in the movement, but unwillingly almost. He just has a beautiful way with him. As I've said before, I like the toughies in the movement, and I love the real movers and shakers in that regard, but I also love the love that seems to emanate from Hoodie. And he's got such a following because he is like that and just speaks so well and seems to, resonate with so many different people.
Yep.
Also he's a man of God these days. So I really love what he's saying, not because of that, but I think that has extra clout with many, and what he says makes sense.
And what's this 832 thing that they...
I don't know if it's Hoodie that actually initiated that movement, but it's a movement that we are jumping on, and I don't think we should say too much more other than stay tuned.
All right, we'll edit that bit.
But no, we won't. We'll keep it in so that people know what's happening.
832. So
John 8:32 is a scripture about he who knows the truth shall be set free, basically.
You show the truth and the truth will set you free.
Right, yeah. Showing my Bible days in sort of half. So 8:32, I think it's something that's going to be, remembered, and something that will show that you're a part of a movement, whether it be through apparel or jewellery or who knows. So Hoodie's been doing some amazing chats and interviews with people at the moment, many of which I get tears from watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it's basically, I think he's actually officially called it Survivors with Voices. So it's a lot of axe-injured people. It's a few people...
Said it again.
Far out. Will I ever?
Sorry, folks, we make a big deal out of this, but every time we say that V word, we get removed from YouTube.
Oh, the carrot.
I'll go back through and I'll blip those two out. Anyway, he gets a lot of survivors from the needle, you can say.
Yes, from an imposed medical procedure.
Forced.
A mandated medical procedure.
Yeah.
If we want to be technical.
Yeah.
Which isn't really officially, wasn't officially mandated. You had a choice, but did you have a choice?
Coerced.
Yeah, coercion.
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
We will
Anyway,
get kicked
that's
off.
not a topic that I really want to talk about today. But Hoodie's opened up this, interview series, Survivors with Voices.
So he goes
and-
around Australia and interviews
Yeah, he's
people.
interviewing a lot of people with John Larder. So John Larder is a ambulance personnel that also lost his job along with his wife and tried to fight it and had a great fight with the health minister, I think, in New South Wales, and many people appealed to that, and he's had some small wins. And
I just saw
that
a
sort of
video
thing.
of somebody chasing the health minister from might have
Yeah.
been New South Wales,
Yeah.
calling him out. You've killed people, you've done
Was
this,
it the
you've
old
done
one,
that.
Hazard?
Might have been. Is it old?
Mr.
Is it?
Hazard.
So you're telling me I'm
yeah.
about 9 months behind in my
Maybe you
viewing
could
habits?
be. We know that could be the case.
You're lightning and I'm thunder.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Hazard deserves everything he gets, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, the things he tried to put in place.
Some of those men are cowards.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
put in an effort at all.
No,
Now they hide in the shadows.
exactly.
Like the
Well, yeah, how
bureaucrats
many
that
of them
did
are
it.
hiding now?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That's true.
So, it's not just those who have been injured by that he's interviewing. He's also, part of, how do I approach this subject? I think part of waking people up to what's actually going on is being able to receive those who suddenly are waking up that perhaps weren't in time with all of us. Receiving them with open
Not
arms.
saying I told you so.
How many times I have actually said we need to not say I told you so.
Yeah.
Even when we've been ridiculed, we all know what that feels like. We've made a decision that wasn't so popular a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But people are waking up, and the truth of the matter is it's going to be hard for those people to speak out if we don't receive those people with humility and open arms.
That's true.
We can't just sit there and point the finger and go, I told you, it doesn't bring more people forward.
No, it doesn't fly, and I think it comes out of insecurity, people that do that anyway, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So I praise Graham Hoodie and John Larder for actually interviewing a few people that have come forward, and prominent people, a mayor from Bathurst and
really?
a pastor of a church who's also a doctor, who has issued this week a major apology to his community, church community alike, for trying to encourage people a while back to take the thing. And I'm getting there.
I thought you were going to say it.
practice.
I thought you were going to say it. I'm like, oh, wait.
I feel like I'm out of practice.
You are.
I haven't talked for a while.
Yeah.
So I haven't had. I've been used to being a bit free with the speech.
Yeah.
Haven't had the camera there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that apology, I loved. I watched that last night.
You got to give credit to people that, own up to what they've done,
Yeah.
own it and say sorry.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have somebody that's messed up,
Yeah.
knows they've messed up.
Yeah. Their
Kind of-
apology means so
kind of a
much
God
when they
heart,
do
really.
that. Yeah.
God, it's funny. I'm going to get into the Bible bit here.
Yeah.
But the Bible actually says that
You
God
got
looks to the
half a
one.
minute.
God looks to the one with a contrite heart.
Yeah.
And then, so he doesn't look. Religion sort of says he looks to the perfect one. He doesn't. It says he actually looks to the one who's screwed up bad, and owned it.
But isn't that so true? And
Yep.
I often say this to my daughter, I respect a person so much if they can come forward.
Yeah.
That's what I try and instill in her.
Absolutely.
If they can
Yeah.
come forward and say, you know what, that was not me, I'm not proud of that moment, or whatever the moment may be.
I lived that. I'm going to
Yeah.
interrupt you because I'm just like interrupting.
Yeah, I know
but,
you do.
When I was a kid, I had this book that was my mum's, and I was comic type book. She didn't read comics, but it was a comic type book she was
Yeah.
using for kids. She was working with kids. I read it and I ripped it.
Right.
I don't know how, but I must have been acting out what was in the pages. Anyway, I sticky taped it,
Yeah.
put it back. And she came and she found it, and needless to say, so I don't know how Mother seemed to be able to figure out who ripped the book.
Yeah. How?
And,
And you
to
got
this
in
day,
trouble. Yep.
I got into trouble. But one of the things she said to me is, if you had have told me, you wouldn't have got in this much trouble.
Yeah.
So from that day on, when I did things wrong, I'd go home and tell her,
Full
and I never
admission.
got a whooping because I told her straight. I worked the
And
system.
she knew that she'd actually said that.
Yeah,
so she
I
couldn't-
held it to it the rest
Yeah.
of her life.
Yeah. Wow,
yeah.
interesting.
Anyway.
No, I think it's a really good quality to instill
It is.
in kids, and they learn by example. So if we can do that, I
Yep.
do with Eva. I often come forward and say, Mum was in a really bad mood today. I'm really sorry if I said this and this or whatever it may be
Well, that's
that
cool, you know.
imperfect humans
Yeah, yeah.
need to apologise for.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
imperfect human.
Yeah. So that apology really, really was strong from the pastor, who's actually a doctor, and he was very, very strong on that and apologetic with all you could see. It was genuine and with good intentions, and they had a really good discussion around that. So I really want to make sure
cool.
I maybe post that in the
Yeah, put it in the
comments.
links with a list of other 50 other.
Yep, as I do. The other interview that is probably a couple of weeks old now, but I think anyone who is even half awake out of a coma,
Yep.
if there's any interview that they should A, watch, and B, share with those of a similar mind or those even not yet awake.
Is it now Australian only, or is this something they can do globally?
This is an
It's
international person.
international? Okay,
So this is
good.
Hoodie's interview with Naomi Wolf, who's a author based from New York City.
Okay.
And she's commonly actually has a history of being, on the left side of politics.
Yep.
But her interview was just probably the best thing I've seen in terms
really?
of what's going on here with everything. So she basically got a team of, the Pfizer. It's about the Pfizer documents.
Pfizer.
I'll take a step back.
Are we allowed to say that word?
Look, we'll just talk about cupcakes all day.
Damn fences. All these code words we have to use.
There's a certain company's documents that were requested
Starting with a P.
for a 75-year suppression
Yep.
in court. They lost.
I mean, it's kind of cheek of them, right?
Well, that
I've done
really
wrong, so I'm going to
just-
suppress it for 75 years.
If that doesn't denote guilt
I know.
on so many levels, that alone, don't even worry about the documents. If that doesn't
Doesn't do
denote,
it, yeah.
I'm so guilty of this
Yeah.
and this and everything else you can throw at me. I don't
Yeah.
know what else could show that.
Yeah.
But so they lost, and Naomi Wolf, smelt a wolf, smelt a rat,
To wolves.
smelt a wolf.
Now that's a blonde moment.
Melissa is really
Half
on
blonde
fire
moment.
today. Well, she basically pulled together 3,500 experts in their field. So cardiologists, doctors, lab experts,
Yep.
you name it, like a very diverse bunch of people, but experts in their field.
All in the US.
All in the US.
Yep.
And so she ended up with 3,500 experts who volunteered their services.
Yep.
Because some of these suppressed or wanted to be suppressed documents from said company
Yeah.
are tens of thousands of pages long. So they
Yeah,
needed
yeah, yeah.
experts to
There's
actually
probably
go
like
in there.
four font or something.
And she said written in extreme, medical technological language that, the average Joe is not going to pick up for light
Yeah.
reading, which makes me laugh when I actually have had discussions with certain, people on Facebook and whatever, and they say, "Oh, I've read those documents. It's a load of crap." I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, who
Oh,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
So to be honest, I haven't
Yeah.
read them,
Be
but I
reading-
read the report.
Be
on
reading,
them.
yeah. You still be reading them otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, you've read them. I had some guy, I'll just digress for a second. A guy was saying that he read the Pfizer report
Yeah.
and there's nothing untoward going on at all. And I'm like, the fact that you just said that there's nothing untoward going on, I know that you haven't read them.
They are
Number
so
two,
corrupt.
I know you haven't read them because it's like 55,000 pages long.
Well, maybe he's got it in the bathroom, spends a lot of time in the toilet, right?
How long do you want to spend in the bathroom?
I know.
Let's face it.
I've
But,
put,
yeah.
you reminded me, I can't remember what video it was now, but I put a video up in the Two Free Scott and the TikTok,
Yeah.
and, well, no, I watched a video, came out, I put a video up 3 or 4 months ago and got it removed
Oh,
because of false information.
right.
Now it's hit the mainstream as legitimate
As-
information and it's in there. And I thought, you mongrels removed me
How
from,
often does that happen?
dinged me and removed it because we were ahead of the game with it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So now it's deemed as fact.
So talking about the Pfizer,
Did
talking
you-
about
sorry?
the documents.
The suppressed document.
Oh, they suppress it. It all comes out in the end,
Hmm.
and then they don't come back and say, "Oh, yeah, sorry, we removed you. We kicked off. We shut off your TikTok group.
Yeah.
We've limited the global freedom movement's been limited for 9 months.
I know.
They're not letting anybody join.
What were we saying? John 8:32? 8:32? Truth will set
Truth will know that
you
you'll
free.
know the truth. and
Truth will come
the
out
set you
and it
free.
will set you free.
It will.
So eventually it's going to come out.
But sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
So
this guy with
Naomi
his
Wolf
Pfizer
was
document. Yeah.
saying, you know, she was led to be involved in this because
I just said it again. Sorry, I just realised I said it again. Go on.
she was saying, I'm just looking at my notes here. She was led to this because she saw, amongst many things, you know, the nightmare that was happening early in 2020.
Yeah.
And she looked over at our country and saw the police turning
The
on their
tyranny.
people,
Oh,
the tyranny, and the, you know, she said, you've got to watch it. She said once she saw that quarantine camps were being built, she said, this is, you know, a disaster for humanity.
so here in Australia, a lot of the police now are young.
Yeah.
And here in Queensland, where we are,
Yeah.
they're flying in, what is it, 2,500
are.
foreign police officers
Yeah.
because they can't recruit inside Australia because
Yeah.
they
Well,
bastardised
because they
their
got
police
rid
force.
of so many who
So I was in
wouldn't-
the airport on the
Carrot.
weekend and there was an old police officer, and a young guy. And the young guy's walking like he's the hero, and I just can't help myself. I'm that guy with the big mouth.
Yeah.
So I kind of made an excuse to go over to them while they were standing there,
Yeah.
showing each other how big their guns were. And I said, look, nicely, said, oh, gee, I'm surprised to see an old boy. He was I'm surprised to see an old boy still in the police force. He, oh, yeah.
Right.
And then I said, you know, I opened up the whole, what you guys did to those freedom people was disgusting.
Good on you.
Oh, and he goes, oh, what? No. There's two forces within our police force. And, you know, there's the
actually believe
local
that.
AFP and there's the national AFP. And it was the national AFP. I was here at the airport. I said, oh, yeah, but you
right.
guys were still involved, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's why we've got all these young guys that don't know any better.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like,
Good
didn't look
on
too
you.
happy with me. And then so I kind of revved him up a little more and I left
Yeah.
before they threw me to the ground and cuffed me. But I was nice about it.
Which, if you were in Melbourne in 2020, is
that
exactly
would have
what would have
happened.
happened.
Would have happened.
You would have
And
been incarcerated.
So
for
anyway,
how long?
Naomi Wolf was watching that. Thank God she didn't watch me get arrested. But
She wrote a book also a few years back. I don't know the title, but she said there are 10 very clear, with reference to that,
Yeah.
there are 10 very clear steps to fascism. And
that's everyone.
we were so on the way
What's
to,
that?
with all these things. And she was talking about the quarantine camps and the fact of how the
that
police
viral-
turned.
I'll cut you off again.
I know.
Sorry, folks. I cut her
I
off.
try to just talk over the top.
I
Sometimes
get
it
something in my
works.
head, and then you talk, and then that Vera, the Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
You triggered something with that
Yeah.
because she talked about, the road to fascism. She talks
Mm-hmm.
about that. In fact, I know if we say the word that starts with an N, that worked for a certain guy that used to do this.
Yeah.
I've done
You'll
it.
get.
I put a thing up about that, and I was removed like that, and they gave me
Yeah.
a strike against my channel.
There's something I probably
Actually, it was
can't
just
say then.
somebody
Yeah.
that put it in the comment. Actually, I never said it. Somebody in the comment asked the question and used the name, and
Mm-hmm.
I spelled it out.
And you still got in
it.
trouble.
I didn't put it all as one word. I
Yeah.
spelled it out about the guy that was tied up with the fascists, and
Right.
they dinged me.
Because Naomi Wolf actually alluded to this and said, she actually, referenced and said, with all due respect, because I am the daughter of
Yeah,
Holocaust survivors.
yeah.
And she said, but this is the yellow,
Yeah,
of this time.
And now
And
we can
said
say
humanity
star.
itself is actually on the line, and that's what prompted her to get involved and put this group together. And they all these experts. You've got to watch the actual interview
we will
with
put
this.
the link in there, especially for you.
Yeah.
And
So
then
I'm
watch
going to
it
look
and
at my
then
notes.
send
and
a
tell
comment so that we know that all of Melissa's
you. Homework.
stuff she's done, somebody's actually paying attention.
I am a school teacher by trade, right? So homework.
So a bit of
Although I
homework.
was never an advocate of giving homework.
Me either. In fact, I got into many a bit of
Barney?
a scrap with some teachers in the States.
Yeah.
I went into school and said, look, I'm a father. If I bring my work home as a dad,
Yeah.
you're going to say I'm a
There's
bad
family
dad.
time. Yep.
Yeah, I said, when school's done, school's done. I said, my child won't be doing homework. Well, we can't. I said, no, when do they get to be a kid? When do they
Yeah.
get to run in the woods?
Sports,
Come home and got to
family
do your
time,
thing. I was like-
relaxing.
so I wouldn't let my kids do homework.
Yep.
I never did any homework in school, but my parents thought I was. But
Yeah.
but no, it's like
It was a major beef of mine too, and it was one of the reasons that I got into a fight with my deputy principal when I was a school teacher in my 20s, because I wouldn't adhere to those kind of policies. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't understand why kindergarten kids,
yeah, need to do homework.
5 and 6 year olds, need to be going home
Oh, we're training them. No, you're not. You're training them to be morons.
to be slaves.
No, slaves to the system.
That's right. It's all part of the agenda, because the more you can cloud their head and fill their head with the stuff that's going on from school
Yep.
and the system,
Yeah.
the less time the family can
do it.
creep in with their elements, you know?
Yeah.
It's all part of it.
So we're going to put Vera's link in there. Not Vera.
No, it's Naomi Wolf with
Wolf
Hoodie.
with Hoodie.
If you go to Facebook and actually, we'll put it on there anyway, but
Put
if
the
you go
link
and
up.
look at Graham Hood, there's 2 parts and they're quite long,
Okay.
but I suggest listening to these sorts of things, including us clowns, I suggest maybe listening to these things while you're driving.
Why were you looking at me when you
while
said
you're
clowns?
Getting ready to go somewhere. Or I always do things like that then, because if I
Yeah.
listen to it before bed, especially if I'm already lying down,
You won't sleep.
2 minutes, no,
Or
I'm
you
out.
go to sleep.
I fall asleep no matter what I'm listening to.
Yeah, right.
I'm not very
Yeah, I'm a
good
bit
at-
that way too. I'm
Yeah.
going and.
Yeah. So, if
So
it's
you
something
sent me some hour and a
important-
half long one the other day, and I actually, I went for a run.
Oh, you did?
And I held it
listened
while I
to
ran, and I
then?
listened to it. I was very proud of myself. I actually listened to it. Never told her that I did, I don't think, but I listened to it.
Good person.
I don't want you to get a big head.
Brownie
You know?
points.
Last thing I need is somebody telling me what I need to be doing.
What did I tell you? Was it lecturous? Was it?
No, you look good. Yeah, I'm just having a Lindy.
Oh my goodness.
So-
I do keep looking at my notes now, because even though I've discussed things, I want to mention some of the things she said, and I definitely cannot memorise all these things. So
Okay,
I'm just going
go
to go for it a little bit.
Okay. You get
Okay.
like 5 seconds on each one.
So after 1 month, we're not talking about pre-trials. We're talking about once the rollout came out.
Of
everyone's
the,
like,
you know what,
of the
that,
thing. Everyone's like, yay, it's arrived. Let's
Yeah.
get it.
Let's get it. Yeah.
After 1 month, that company already knew that
Which company?
it had.
With the P?
Yes.
The P company. No,
Their
they're not looking at
words were a month after, in the report, failed efficacy. So after 1 month already, despite all the propaganda that came, it was all based on a lie. All the mandates were based on a lie, because they knew after 1 month it was failure.
So should I tell you some of my dirty washing with that?
Tell me.
So one of my closest friends for 20 years was in charge of one of those trials
Right.
for a certain company.
Right.
His company did it.
Okay.
And I've been friends with him a long time and know how trials work, because
Yeah.
we've often talked some of the stuff he's done, right? When they did, now bear in mind, nobody knew then what we know now. And he got done, but he said they basically weren't allowed to. It was basically stick a needle in your arm. If you didn't drop dead, it's a pass. But they had
Right.
somebody that died in Colombia or somewhere, and they stopped all the trials while they tried to figure out what went on, but it wasn't to do with that.
Yeah.
So, but the trials were done in weeks. It
Yeah.
was,
This
and
is post-trial,
normally
though.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was no proper trial of any of it, and I know that firsthand because I know the man who did one of the major ones.
Yeah. I've listened to it as well, quite a few interviews of people that were involved in the trials.
Yeah.
And their stories are messy. And a lot of them are injured, and they've come out saying that, but they were excluded from the trial information
Yeah,
and
well,
the
so
trial
he's-
reports. They
he-
were actually, those cases were actually taken out of it.
So he didn't work for the main. Sorry, my phone's getting messages. He
I'm like,
worked for
"What's
the
that?"
main. Yeah, me too. Need our glasses. You want? He don't work for the main company. He had
Yeah.
his own company, and the funny thing is, he'd set this company up, and they came and contracted him to do it.
Right.
Which is another, when you think about it, of course, right? We didn't do that. We contracted somebody else
Or
to do it.
outsource so that we don't
So,
get it falling on
correct,
our own hands.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's since sold the company, but
Yeah.
still, yeah.
Yep. So she mentioned that within the month, unequivocally, it doesn't stay in the deltoid. It goes to all the body organs.
Into the what? Deltoid?
When they put it in the deltoid muscle. So every
Never heard that word in my
every
life.
expert, haven't you?
You
Well,
only know
that's
that
'cause you-
word because you listen to her say it.
that's because
no
I
way.
do.
You didn't even
That's
know what
'cause I
that word
actually
was.
work out.
No. So,
That's
I work
because I
out
go
too,
to the
can't you
gym.
tell? But I don't know what a deltoid
You
is.
say that's a shoulder. I say that's a deltoid.
Deltoid. It's a thing. It's like sweat and
I
perspire.
know, my deltoids
Men
were
sweat and
shrinking.
women perspire.
It doesn't. They knew this as well, and they allowed every government person talking about it, every doctor,
You know,
every
this bugs on me every time I feel that.
shush. He's listening.
Uh-oh.
The bird. There's a
Bird's
bird.
back.
Again.
Every time we do it, there's a bird, folks,
There's a
and
bird.
there he is. Magpie.
All right, don't interrupt me this time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But
I'm
they
not sorry.
that company allowed every committee, doctor, everybody talking
Yep.
about it to do with the propaganda, to say that it stays within that
Within that zone.
zone, that deltoid zone, and because that was one of the pinnacle points of whether it caused massive damage. And the problem is that it does go into the membranes of all the major organs and cause massive, massive damage. And it's so damning that the reports that they tried to suppress is really so damning.
So she reported on that.
68 major reports from 3,500
Oh,
volunteers
that's the 3.5
of the
that
experts.
spent their whole days reading
Yes,
instead of watching TV.
Yes. It accumulates with every shot. So if
Of course, that's why they
they're
want 1,
encouraging
4, 10.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
You've seen those videos, right? The guy that's on, like, you know, booster number 67, and, you know, the guy like,
Unfortunately, she also did say that the shedding is real from a vaxxed to an unvaxxed.
Yeah, you said it again.
From the
Every time you say,
carrots.
we're going to have a jar here.
From the
Every time you say it,
carrots.
you'll put $1 in the jar. I'll be rich.
So I forget that I'm actually filming, and I actually just
Yeah,
say
I
it.
know. I
Do you
said
think we'll survive this one?
we'll give it a shot.
I don't reckon
What are they
TikTok's
gonna
going
do?
to allow this to survive.
Who cares? If they
Between
kick
your
us
ant
off-
bite,
They kick us off.
my discussion with
We'll
the
deal
wrong
with it.
words.
Yeah. We'll be good.
Honestly, I'm not going to go into it because I've clearly overnoted today. But and you just keep wanting to.
No, I'm good with it. I'm just in a mischievous mood.
I know you are.
Okay.
But I'm talking about
But it
heart
makes me
attacks
feel like
and
I'm in church.
strokes.
Because every time I go into these church events and there's notes, right? You see these notes. And you know when it starts, those events, and
Yeah.
they start reading it and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my Lord, are they ever going to get to the end of this thing? And then it's
It's
like you're watching the
important.
clock and you're watching not with you, but I'm just saying it just gives me this like convulsions
about
of when I
church.
sat in church and had to
Yeah.
listen to somebody go through notes.
Yeah.
Probably why I tanked
was
in school.
probably
I
really
did really good in
boring.
school, but I did no homework. And that's probably why.
Maybe.
I blame it on the church.
Maybe you should.
But your notes are fine, so I don't have a bad attitude towards it, honestly.
I'll just
Go on
talk,
with it.
Scott. I'll listen.
What else now I feel bad.
No,
what else you got?
I'm actually done because I just really would love
Done.
people
She's
to.
got another 10 lines.
I'd love for people
she's
to
guilting
actually
me.
watch this.
Yeah, but we can edit it.
Yeah. What are you
Yeah.
going to edit?
Well, edit out everywhere you talk and leave where I talk in.
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
So,
Some of the things you wouldn't actually believe, and I was just listening to it dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Yes, we know how much damage it's causing. Yes, we know people are dropping from myocarditis, pericarditis. They're the things
Yep.
we know about, but some of these statistical, inarguable facts,
Mm.
statistically, just blew my mind.
so
some of the
but I
things
think
that are
everybody
happening.
knows. It's just whether or not they want to connect the dots that we all know somebody who's got something going on from it. So I
Yeah.
know another guy that I've known for 20 odd years
Yeah.
that he got one.
Yeah.
And
One what?
in Zav, spell it backwards. And he
Yeah.
he's now fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And big time, pancreatic cancer went into his stomach, and I tell you, I talk to him a couple of times a week, just walking it with him, right? And they've basically given him the death sentence now. Go home, die. There's nothing more we can do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to die. I think God's going to do something, but he and has been. But he it tracked back to that.
Yeah.
He got that. He got the shot, and it all came after that. It's not in his family. Nobody's had cancer in his family.
Yeah.
But
I know so many people like that. I really do. I know people like very close to my circle even. Yeah. And, you know, even in my quite immediate family, I know somebody who had a stroke not long after one of them.
How's he getting it?
And someone who had a heart attack not long after one of them. And somebody who had a massive clot not long after. I know, and that's just people very close to me, and I know people who have passed away very close. And they have actually, it's not questionable. It was that, and it was written in the report as that.
Oh, they did?
Yes,
wow.
because it was definitely that. It was inarguable.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, even in my circle, that have, going through dramas. Yeah. So one of the things I remember Naomi Wolf saying actually is that she was talking about the intent of the very clear, obvious intent of sterilising the generation coming and where it's reaching and the damage that it's doing. And something that blew my mind was that one of the reports mentioned that it was actually penetrating and getting into the testes of the little babies already when they're that little.
So it wouldn't develop,
if the mothers have
so
been
it's not going to develop.
Carotid, and it's suppressing the hormones that they need to actually become
males.
Men, when they go through
gutsy
puberty.
guys.
Yeah. So why is that? It's all part of that agenda,
Damn
isn't it?
trans agenda.
Yeah.
Do we get removed for that?
Let's go. There's like a list I think we need to prepare before we actually say
they're never
going
to shut me up on that crap. It's like
of words that we can't
have
say.
me swear, mate.
Yeah.
But it's a polite swear word.
Yeah, that's not really a swear word.
No.
I never really categorise that.
Yeah.
There are better things you could say.
But no, it's trash. It's like it's sickening.
Yeah, it's all part of the agenda, you know. And they got talking on that too. There's two parts, so how it all fits in with everything. And
I'll tell you what it did with him though, which has been cool. It's given him a real perspective on life. We got the bird back.
Yeah, ants, birds.
It's given him a real cool perspective on life, and he's 65.
Yeah.
And he's like, both of his parents died. I think they were done. No, they weren't. Anyway, they both died within months of each other. And he said, you know, they had a house full of stuff. We couldn't give it away. We had to pay to dump it. He said their whole life was, this matters so much to me. And once they gone, and he was just saying, it's been such a wake-up call on life, Scott. He said, I realised we put so much focus on crap. I'll use that word again. Stuff that doesn't matter. And he says now he's fighting for his life. We were talking just this morning, about it. I said, you know, I'm realising too in life, why do we want to be somewhere doing something that we don't want to do or forcing ourselves to be there? And ultimately, I'll be honest, for me, a lot of it's been religion. Religion puts this restriction on you, you have to be here, otherwise God's going to. And I was like, I just don't see that. Yeah. And I was like, God gives us one life. Now, it doesn't mean we go out and party like hogs. Yeah. But I think it's I think it's actually our duty to live free. To live it. And not just free of these things we've been talking about, to live free in every part of our life. And if there's something that we're holding back on, we're apologising for, we're not in freedom, we were talking about it this morning. I said, I can't see that God would hold us and restrict us and say, you cannot, you have to be now, I don't believe it. I wouldn't do that to my child. Would you?
No. And there's a doctor who sadly passed away this week or last week, the day after my birthday last week. Dr. Batar, I think his name was, and he was very forward about everything, spoke out.
That was the video.
I really want to actually talk more about that, but I feel like I want to devote a whole
thing
thing
to
to
it.
it because he is such a trailblazer in everything
Yeah.
he did, and
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me. It's a bit suspicious. Say no more.
Well, he said
But
in the
actually
recording that he
said-
actually got poisoned with 10
Right.
times the
so
dose.
the first time he did, yeah.
Yeah.
So the one that actually succeeded, it's questionable, but he actually talked about in his last interview last week, just before he died,
Yeah.
the importance of free will. He said, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm here to discuss, and God gave me this second chance to discuss the importance of utilising and exercising your free will as humans. This has never been a more important time to exercise that free will that we've been given. So that was his
I
message,
believe
and it
it.
was the day before he passed away.
I believe it.
interview.
It's our free
Yeah.
will. But you think
Yeah.
about it, the rules of government, the rules of the legalism, and the Bible itself says the letter kills and the spirit gives life. So they get these letters, and we were talking about marriage with him and someone that we knew. And we're just saying, the letter is this, but the spirit is not. But we come under the letter of it and it kills us. It
Yeah.
takes us to a point, and I said, and that's how it came
What
up.
do you
I said,
mean
we've
it
only
comes
got,
under the letter?
well, we make a marriage vow,
Right.
and that's important. It is
Yeah.
important to make a vow.
Yeah.
But, and it's funny because of midlife. I've hit midlife, in case you haven't noticed. I know I look like I'm in my 20s, but I hit midlife. And we were talking
Most
about,
people just go and buy a sports car. All right.
give us the clap, because it's always funny when
Yay,
you clap.
and thank you.
No, give us the ow.
No, I'm not saying that you do that.
Go on, we'll do it together.
No.
Yeah, come on.
No.
Ready? On the count of 3. Ow,
1, 2, 3. See you later, guys.